Is Davao del Sur Metro Planning. All BAC members, Davao Works, not Secretariat, interested leaders, observers, and viewers, good morning. Our procurement proceedings for today's prepaid conference for civil works projects. The prepaid conference will come to order. The projects for our prepaid conference, the 26 LD 0007 review. Construction of multi-purpose building, Gymnasium, Barangay Inawayan, Sur Davao del Sur. EBC 7,920,000 pesos. Contract duration 150 calendar days. Next, 26 LD 0031. Construction of road, Barangay Aplaya, Digos City, Davao del Sur. EBC 47,100,760 pesos. Contract duration 185 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0064. Repeat. Construction of multi-purpose building, Barangay Home, Barangay Piaping, Padada, Davao del Sur. EBC 4,950,000 pesos. Contract duration 120 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0160. Repeat. Construction of multi-purpose building, covered court, Barangay Malabang, Habone, Davao del Sur. EBC 7,920,000 pesos. Contract duration 150 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0175. Widening of bridge, Bansalan Bridge, along Davao Cotabato Junction, Digos, Cotabato section, Davao del Sur. EBC 43,120,000 pesos. Contract duration 21 calendar days. Next is 26 LD 0177. Construction completion of multi-purpose buildings, community learning centers, Group Nipchon, Sitio Balukakay, Barangay Managa, Bansalan, Davao del Sur. EBC 1,180,000 pesos. Contract duration 70 calendar days. Next is 26LD0185, Road Widening, Davao Sarangani Coastal Road, Malala Malita Gas, kilometer 1584 plus 376, so kilometer 1585 plus 474, and kilometer 1585 plus 494 to kilometer 1585 plus 515. The EPC for 8,020,000 pieces, and operation for 15 calendar days. Next is 26LD0189, Review. Construction of multi-purpose building, Gymnasium, Aplaya, Davao del Sur. EPC 7,920,000 pieces. Construction duration 150 calendar days. The last is 26LD0195, construction completion of city engineering office. Digos City, Davao del Sur. EPC 9,900,000 pesos. Construction duration 150 calendar days. May I request the head of the Secretariat, Engineer B. Casella, to conduct a poll and acknowledge the interested bidders and observers. Good morning, everyone. We would like to acknowledge the bank presence, the bank members, Bank DPWH, Bank Secretariat, viewers and observers for the three-week conference of civil works. Engineer Daisy Caliban, Ms. Rachel Carla Uyang, Engineer Achilles Nicolos, Engineer Ace Mariano Lucero Jr., Engineer Teresa Relacion, Engineer Winnie Montañez, Mr. Novi Carlo Nasibo, Engineer Rodel Polinar, Engineer Raymond de la Cruz, Engineer Waldemar Ausa, Engineer Yanti Gayusa, Engineer Junaili Mundi, Engineer Arbilin Donio, Engineer Roy Consancio, Mr. Elton John Albert Terencio, Engineer Ivan Nico Tormes, Engineer Anelisa Bonsit, Engineer Vanessa Lasconia, Engineer Anne Lorraine Diamante, Engineer Kinsey Marie Ariguay, Engineer Lois Claire Villa, Miss Lucrecia Gocom, and Miss Carla Arne Lopez. Madam Chair, we issue notice to observers dated July 9, 2026. To Honorable John Tracy Cagas, Congressman Davao del Sur, to Kuwa Audit Team, Mr. Eric Humilga, State Monitor, to Wilfredo L. Dicina, President, Philippine Constructors Association Incorporated, to the Director, National Constructors Association of the Philippines Incorporated, to Mr. Carlo Imbatalla, President and Chairman Crime and Corruption Watch CCW International Incorporated, to Honorable Jose Nelson Z. Sala Sr., Municipal Mayor, Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Danilo A. Bacquiat, Barangay Inawayan, Santa Cruz, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Joseph Fortich Cagas, City Mayor, Digos City, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Gregorio C. Amasio Jr., Punong Barangay Aplaya, Digos City, Davao del Sur, to Engineer Salvador Domogo Report, City Engineer Digos City, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Joel Carpintero, Municipal Mayor Palada, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Jeffrey S. De la Luna, Punong Barangay Piapi, Palada, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Jesus S. Dorisa Jr., Municipal Mayor Hagunoy, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Cristituto R. Iliaga Jr., Punong Barangay Malabang, Hagunoy, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Edwin G. Reyes, Municipal Mayor Bansalan, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Juanito M. Laliza, Punong Barangay Tubod, Bansalan, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Hudson T. Malik, Punong Barangay Banaga, Bansalan, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Maria Sorahayda T. Valentin, Municipal Mayor Malalag, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Christopher M. Garcia, Punong Barangay Limpaklayon, Malalag, Davao del Sur, to Honorable Arthur Davin, Municipal Mayor Magsaysay, Davao del Sur, and to Honorable Christopher R. Luces, Punong Barangay Poblacion Magsaysay, Davao del Sur. Let's go, Madam Chair. Let's proceed to our agenda number one. The brief presentation explanation, the basic contract data, including contract description, EDC regulation, to be discussed by the planning personnel, but for roads by Engineer Apitan, for building by Architect Armintan, and for bridges, Engineer Domin. So let's proceed.
Sure, the colleagues in this room. I'm malapitan to discuss the two road projects. First, the Barangay number 630-0031. Project name, construction of road, Barangay Aplaya. Station 0 plus 00 to Station 0 plus 138.27, side 1. Station 0 plus 00 to Station 0 plus 3.0.7, side 2. Station 0 plus 00 to Station 0 plus 163.3, Station 0 plus 00 to Station 0 plus 116.69, Site 4. Station 0 plus 00 to Station 0 plus 195.31, that's Site 5. Station 0 plus 000 to Station 0 plus 456.01, that's Site 6. Station 0 plus 370.24, inside 8. Station 0 plus 700 to Station 0 plus 216.3, inside 9. Station 0 plus 00 to Station 0 plus 452.24, inside 10. Station 0 plus 499.54 to Station 0 plus 655.4, inside 11. Station 0 plus 00 to Station 0 plus 133.44, inside 12. Station 0 plus 00 to Station 0 plus 428, exit 30. Digos City, Davao del Sur. Nag-release ang mga 37,100,760 pesos. Contract duration, 185 million days. Source of time required to receive job should not early with the type months per three. Location at Barangay Aplaya, Digos City, Davao del Sur. This is close to 322. So, Livestream, the location mo sa itong project. Next is it made as a little particular set of project. Also, part B, is it made server and using the program that is utilization of the application. Part C, notebooks are about trees, for structures, removal of RCP6 is about 10 kilometer and 10 kilometer and 416 kilometer. Surface division, surface division, sorry, pollution field to light canal, high pollution excavation pollution, backing for roadway, subject pollution. Part B, sub-base base course, rated 200. Part E, surface course, Portland Cement, Concrete Pavement, KCCP. Non-guided force, 220, 13 days. Part F, base construction slash line canal. Reinforcing steel with 40, mobile decreasing with 60. And so far, 50.6 kilopascal plus heat in treatments. For part G, drainage and slow protection structure. Pipe voltage class 4 or CPC using 100 millimeter. Light canal recovery using inside. Liquid ballers, 100 millimeters in single. For part H, using structures with different form ligas. The people is the opposite of the follower. Scopeable, completed existing gravel road with a width of 2.5 meters and 5 meters total. The thickness of 250 thick and the shallow width of 1.5 meters. So display the schedules of our project for site 1, so length of 110.37 meters. For site 2, 337 meters. For site 3, 163.35 meters. For site 4, 160.65 meters. For site 5, 185.61 meters. For site 6, 476.71 meters. For site 7, 108.2 meters. For site 8, 125 meters. For site 9, 216.3 meters. For site 10, 455.34 meters. For site 11, 155.7 meters. For site 12, 130.24 meters. For site 13, 411.23 meters. The total length of the project is 3.5 kilometers or 7.7 kilometers. The scope of work was installed pipe culverts using plus 4, a total quantity of 140 million meters, where the screen along the section was using using this type headwall. So the screen, the typical platform headwall using stainless steel, particularly principal Philippines. Next is stainless steel also from CPC. For site 1, remove CPC. One line 610 millimeter, rest 7 millimeter, replace in one line in the 10 millimeter by 8 millimeters. For site 2, use the next, remove CCW CPC. One line 110 millimeter by 6 millimeter, one line 610 millimeter by 8 millimeter, and one line 260 millimeter by 8 millimeter. And provide RCPC 110 millimeter. The total of PVC millimeter for site 2. For site 3, remove the system data of CPC, 110 diameter by 30 millimeter. And provide RCPC 110 millimeter by 10 millimeter for site 3. For, for site 2, close brackets, remove the system data of CPC, 1 millimeter by 6 millimeter, and provide 1 new line millimeter by 11 millimeter. For site 6, cross brackets, extend precipitation 1 millimeter in diameter by 1 millimeter by 6. For site 7, cross brackets, remove system damage precipitation 1 millimeter by 7 millimeter, and provide new line millimeter by 10 millimeter. For site 10, cross brackets, remove system damage precipitation 1 millimeter by 4 millimeter. And replace with new 900 millimeter by 11 millimeter. For site 12, cross brackets, remove system value CPC, one line 600 millimeter by 5 millimeter, and one new 900 millimeter by 8 millimeter. For site 13, cross brackets, remove system value CPC, one line 600 millimeter by 5 millimeter. Version of institution for lateral units, location sites, remove the system level institution, 110 millimeter by 6 millimeter, and provide one new line millimeter by 6 millimeter. And lateral units, it's okay. Remove system level institution, line 610 millimeter by 3 millimeter, and provide CPC, 110 millimeter before the value. Use scope of work, the installation of complete line panel, using complete wrestling, the thousand case, information 16, bone using 24. The total na pagkaroon ng 16 millimeter. For repair complete, the technique is 0.1 for foundation fee. Locations at RC, rectangular complete line panel, at site 1, station 0.001 page dependent. For station 0 case number, 11.3, look set. First, at site 7, station 0 plus 003.56 to station 0 plus 050, 76.44 meters. Right side, site 10, it's from station 0 plus 001.4 to station 0 plus 003.44. around 131 meters. Should display that it is a light panel with cover. So again, out including water will 25 meters and meters, it is equal to 15 meters. Using the screen that it is about cover with the lamp, it is grounded with one pieces. Only the point three and moving for position thickness of 2 meters. And there's some installation of urban water, location special 0.007 to station 0.0 and then completed to 0 it's a for location of the normal pedal of the techniques of all gravity. Next, show the screen that it was about all gravity. Next, there's also installation of perfect cover and 3 pieces of the shot at set 1 and set 7 at set 2. Showing the screen that it was about perfect manhole for the needed to be diameter. To remove safety, raise the plastic looking for a white for the center and insulin second. So that's really for the all roads project.
Well, would like to sort of acknowledge the observers, Ma'am Irish P. Zamora, Barangay Kagawan, Aplaya, Sir Roberto Zamora, BDC, Barangay Aplaya, Ma'am Marilo Piel, Barangay Kagawas, Aplaya, Ma'am Remedios Baldovino, BDC, Barangay Aplaya, Ma'am Maria Lydia Ilica, BDC, Barangay Aplaya. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Those viewers, observers, online viewers, good morning. Now let's proceed to our building projects. First, for contract ID 26LD 0007, rebid with a contract name construction of multi-purpose building, Gymnasium, Barangay Inawayan, Davao del Sur, with a appropriation amount of 8 million pesos, ABC amount of 7 million, and 920,000 pesos, with a contract duration of 150 calendar days, funded under 2026 GAA or RA 123. So here's our perspective of our gymnasium. Here's our vicinity map, which will be located in Barangay Inawayan. Here's a geotech photo as well. For site development plan, our project will be located in place beside an existing one-way church. Next. So for the scope of works for this project, first we have the 28 by 15 meters play court. Also we have a stage, 3 tier features around the play court, canopy, and suspended board. Next, here's our front elevation, rear elevation, showing the louver, which also included for this project. Next, here's our side elevation, showing the 3 tier features and then touch stage, also the canopy. This project is mainly composed of metal truss structure, ornamental walls, also the grade 60 and grade 4, 40 reinforcing steel for the reinforced concrete pedestals, and 2 tech by 50, we only 50 in rectangular shape for the buildings. So tails, paintings. The LG provided deed of donation for the donation. Then for the summer qualities, we have the following. The general requirements, documents and clearances. Earthwork, we have the excavation and embankment. Reinforced concrete, such as the 3,000 and 4,000 PSI structural concrete and grade 40 and grade 60 reinforcing steel. Under finishing other civil works, you have the masonry works, finishing works, which includes the installation and plastering, painting works for masonry and steel, roof framing and roofing works, plumbing, which only includes the storm drainage and asphalt and catch basin, and electrical works. So our next project, with the contract ID 26700064, rebid the contract name, construction of multi-purpose building, Barangay Hall, Barangay Pilati, Palaro Davao del Sur, with the appropriation amount of 5 million pesos, with ADC amount of 4 million and 950,000 pesos, with a contract duration for 120 calendar days, funded under 2026 budget. Next, so here's our vicinity, which will be placed near the Maria Plato, Art de los Santos National School. Usually photo. The LG provided the Digos donation for the proof of ownership of the music. Here's our circular plan. It should be placed right beside a residential building. So here's the perspective of the Barangay Hall, one-story building, essentially fire room. Due to limited people saying. So our building has a total area of 96 square meters, with a dimension of 8 meters by 12 meters. Spaces provided are the following: a porch, lobby, clerical office, pantry, PW toilet room, session hall, and head office. The building will be composed of reinforced concrete columns and beams and steel flexible frame. For the summer properties, we have the drawing requirements, approving clearances. Under earthwork, we have the clearing grubbing, individual trees, excavation, and embankment. Reinforced concrete, such as the 3,000 and 4,000 PSI structural concrete, the grade 40 and grade 60 reinforcing steel. Under finishing and other civil works, we have the turbine control works, masonry works, fabricated materials for the doors and windows, finishing works such as the ceiling, tile works, and insulation, painting works for the masonry of concrete, wood, and steel, roof framing and roofing works, plumbing, which includes the storm drainage and downspout, catch basins, sewer line, and cold water line, electrical works, and under mechanical works included air conditioning system and power extinguishers. Next, for contract ID 26-0160, we made the contract name construction of multi-purpose building, covered court, Barangay Malabang, Davao del Sur, with appropriation of 8 million pesos and ABC amount of 7 million and 920,000 pesos, with a contract duration of 150 calendar days, funded under 2026 DAA or the. And here's the perspective of our covered court, GP. So here's our site, which will be like the Malawan Hagumi. Here's the JP photo. Next, the LGA provided the donation for the loan ownership. Here's the development plan. So the significant landmark would be the core concept of. So for the scope of works, we have the 28 by 15-meter playcourt, stage, 3-tier features on the playcourt, canopy, and the suspended board. Here's the front elevation and the rear elevation, showing the louver. Here's the louver details. Next. First, here's our side elevation, showing the 3-tier features and this attached stage in the playcourt. So the building would be a metal truss structure, total of 6 bars. Then also the basics and reinforcing steel, and then reinforced concrete pedestals, and then the two on thick by 50 by 150 panels for the rooms. For the summary of quantities, we have general requirements, permits and clearances, earthwork, excavation and management, reinforced concrete,
such as the 3,000 and 4,000 PS in structural concrete, the grade 4 and grade 60 reinforcing steel. Under finishing other civil works, like masonry works, finishing works such as the semi-plaster finish and retrofit installation, painting works for masonry, concrete, and steel, roof framing and roofing works, plumbing, which only includes the storm drainage and downspout and catch basin, and electrical works. Next, for contract ID 2670-0177, the contract name, construction, completion of multi-purpose building, community learning center, Purok Neptune, Sitio Balutakay, Barangay Managa, Bansalan, Davao del Sur, with appropriation amount of 2 million pesos, EBC amount of 1,980,000 pesos, with a contract duration of 70 calendar days, 126 So here's a vicinity map, which will be located at Sitio Balutakay, Barangay Managa. Here's the data photo. The LG provided resolution for the ownership. Next, project would be located right or near the existing Balapacay Fire Station. Solution. Painting works, which is for the masonry, concrete, wood and steel, roof, framing and roofing works. Plumbing or sanitary works, which includes the septic pool, sewer line, and water line plumbing fixtures. Electrical works, and then mechanical works. We have the fire extinguishers. Next, for 260189, really, where the contract name, construction of multi-purpose building, Gymnasium, Magsaysay, Davao del Sur, with appropriation amount of 8 million pesos, ABC amount of 7,920,000 pesos. The contract duration 450 calendar days, 126 or agreement to things. Here's our Gymnasium. Perspective. So for the vicinity map, our project will be located since then. This is the site near Maximilio Pillarins in building. Here's a jet of photo. Next, for the ownership, the Azure provided the transfer certificate title. Next, here's a site development plan showing the gym. Next, so our gym. For this project, the scope of works will be following the 28 by 15-meter play court, an stage, 3-tier features, canopy, suspended warning. Here's the front and the rear elevation, showing the louver, which was included for the project. Here's our side elevation, showing the 3-tier features, the canopy, and the touch stage. Again, the building mainly composed of metal truss. This is metal structure consisting in low bars. Also, we have the V6 and V40 reinforcing steel and the reinforced concrete pedestals. Then the 2M effect, the 50 by 150 mm rectangular circumference. For the summer quantities, we have the general requirements, according to appearances. Under earthwork, we have the individual level 3, excavation and embankment. Under reinforced concrete, you have the 3,000 4,000 PSI structural concrete, the grade 40 and grade 60 reinforcing steel. Under finishing other civil works, you have the masonry works, finishing works such as the cement plaster finish and reflected insulation, painting works for masonry or concrete and steel, roof framing and roofing works, plumbing for sanitary works, which only includes the storm drainage and also the catch basin, and electrical works. Next, for contract ID 260195, our contract name, construction, completion of City Engineer Office, Digos City, Davao del Sur, with appropriation amount of 10 million pesos, and ABC amount of 9,900,000 pesos. The contract duration of 450 calendar days, valid till 2026 Davao or rewarded to This project is a completion project which will be located within the vicinity of our City Hall, Digos. Here's the vicinity map and the geographic photo. Your site development plan, which the proposed project will be located near the existing building of city services. The actually provided is an original certificate title for the lot ownership. Next, here's the perspective for the two-story, the completion project is the two-story city engineering system. So the building is a two-story building with total 428 square meters or 214 square meters each floor. Spaces were the following: the building furnace section, motor pool section, electrical section, porch, welding office, assistant engineering office, lobby on the ground floor. Uh, this project is a completion project which includes the following: the aluminum composite panel for the exterior, paint finish, interior walls, electrical works for the both floors, ceiling, plumbing, and an additional span marked from the level A to B. And for the second floor, we have the following spaces: planning or construction head office, file area, admin head office, planning or construction team, city engineer's office, conference room, supervision project, existing in structural components. And for the smart quantities, we have the general requirements, documents and clearances. Right work, we have the removal of structure or obstruction, excavation. Reinforced concrete, 3,000, 4,000 PSI structural concrete, and the weight 40 and weight 60 reinforced steel, additional to the building. Under finishing and other civil works, we have the masonry works, finishing works, ceiling, plastering, painting works for the steel, roof framing and roofing works, plumbing or sanitary works, which includes installation and downspout, and spacing, so related to overlaying, and electrical works. So that's it for these. Building functions.
Once again, good morning, everyone. For Bridge Project, with contract ID number 26-0175, with a project name of widening of bridge, Bansalan Bridge, B020002 along Davao Cotabato Road, Junction Digos, Cotabato Section, Davao del Sur. Project cost of 44 million, ABC of 43,120,000, contract duration of 271 calendar days, source of fund of 526 GAM. For this project is located along National Highway at Bansalan, Davao del Sur. For the scope of works, this widening of bridge with approaches, shown is the general elevation of bridge with side lane at both embankments. The length of bridge back wall is 25 meters. The girder used is pre-stress with a length of 24.4 meters, type 4. Steel sheet pile, type of pile is type with a length of 4 meters. Shown is the general plan of bridge with existing 4 lanes and proposed widening at both sides. For abutment protection details, material used is structural concrete, class A, with a thickness of 0.2 meters and strength of 20.68 MPa. And for the side bay, the material used is stone masonry. Note for concrete, used crushed gravel. Shows the foundation plan details. For this project, there are 2 board piles each abutment. So for all are 4 board piles. The diameter of board pipe is 1.2 with a length of 20 meters each, with steel casing, thickness of 10 mm and 6 meters long. Shown is the cross-section of bridge. Since this is a standard bridge, the carriageway width is 3.66 meters, sidewalk is 1.11 meters. And an expansion joint, steel finger type, was used to connect the new bridge widening to the existing bridge. This shows the typical details of expansion joint used for this project. The length of the expansion joint is 25 meters for one side only. So overall, over 50 meters expansion joint. The road approach, the main road. The length of PCCP is 1.1848 lane kilometer. PCCP width is 3.35 meters. Thickness of 0.3 meters. I-10 200 is 0.2 meters. And for paved shoulder, the length of paved shoulder is 592.4 meters for both sides. Width of 2.5 meters. Thickness of 0.23 meters. For shown is the typical cross-section for area field or normal crown showing road widening and paved shoulder on both sides. Another one is also a typical cross-section for normal crown showing road widening and paved shoulder on both sides and reinforced concrete line canal on right side. Shown is the typical details of the line canal. This is a reinforced concrete line canal rectangular. Width is 1 meter. Height also is 1 meter. The strength used is 3,000 PS. Next, for road safety, we provided reflectorized thermoplastic pavement marking plan. That's the for bridge. One B, the requirement of the documents, section provisions, general condition of contract, special condition of contract, specifications, drawings, bill quantities and forms. And for agenda number 1C, documents to be submitted by the bidders. And for agenda number 1D, the criteria and procedure for eligibility check, preliminary examination bids, detailed evaluation of bids, post-qualification one. To be discussed by Teacher Administrator Bonus.
Addressing the bid. The first bid envelope shall contain the following technical documents, including the eligibility documents. First, valid PhilJIP's registration certificate, platinum membership, all pages, in accordance with section 20 of the IRR of RA 12009. QR code must be clear and readable. Failure of the bidder to update its PhilJIP certificate of registration with the current and updated supporting documents shall result in the automatic suspension of the bidder's certificate. Second, special PCAB license and registration in case of joint venture. Third, statement of all ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. Failure by the bidder to disclose all ongoing government and private contracts leads to automatic disqualification and potential blacklisting for misrepresentation. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: 1. Copy of notice of award and/or contract. 2. Copy of notice to proceed issued by the project owner. And 3. Copy of certificate of accomplishment signed by the project owner or authorized representative. In case of no ongoing contract, the bidder shall submit this duly signed form and indicate no ongoing contracts under the column number 1. Dual purpose of the statement all ongoing contracts. It is relevant in relation to the computation of the NFCC formula. The value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of ongoing contracts will be deducted from the product of the current assets minus liabilities multiplied by 15. Hence, for the procuring entity to determine the correct computation of the NFCC, the bidder shall declare all of its ongoing government and private contracts, including contracts awarded but not yet started, if any, whether similar or not similar in nature and complexity to the contract to be bid. The statement of all ongoing government and private contracts still has its significance in relation to the verification on the bidder's performance in its ongoing contracts during post-qualification process. Fourth, statement of single largest completed contract or SLCC, similar to the contract to be bid, in accordance with instructions to bidders, clause 5.5. SLCC must be equivalent at least 50% of the ABC. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments. 1. Copy of contract. 2. Copy of certificate of completion. And 3. Copy of certificate of final acceptance issued by the project owner other than the contractor, or a final rating of at least satisfactory in the constructor's performance evaluation system. In case of contracts with the private sector, an equivalent document shall be submitted. If net financial contracting capacity or NFCC computation in accordance with instructions to bidders, clause 5.6. Computation as follows: current assets minus current liabilities multiplied by 15 minus the value of all outstanding or uncompleted portions of the projects under ongoing contracts, including awarded contracts yet to be started, coinciding with the contract to be bid. NFCC must be at least equal to the ABC. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments. 1. Copy of latest audited financial statement, or AFS. And 2. Copy of proof of receipt for AFS submitted to the BIR. Confirmation receipt for online submission, or BIR receipt stamp for manual submission. 6. Joint venture agreement, if applicable. Joint ventures may participate, provided that the primary purpose of each member must be similar or related to the requirements of the project. Each member of the joint venture shall jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity in case of breach or failure to comply with the requirements of the project. 7th, bid security in the prescribed form and amount in accordance with instructions to bidders, clause 16, and validity period, under clause 15. The bid security shall be in the form of a bid securing declaration, or any of the following: the amount of not less than 2% of the ABC if bid security is in cash, the amount of not less than 5% of the ABC if bid security is in surety bond. Bids in bid security shall be valid for 120 calendar days from bid opening. 8th, project requirements, which shall include the following. 1. Organizational chart for the contract. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. 2. List of contractors' key personnel to be assigned to the contract with their qualification data. These personnel must meet the required minimum years of experience set in the bid data sheet. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments, letter of nominee, notarized certificate of employment, biodata, copy of PRC ID, PTR, TIN, and certificate of accreditation and/or training. Key personnel, particularly the project manager, project engineer, and materials engineer, must be different persons. Accredited safety officer, required upon issuance of notice of award, subject to Department Order Number 35, Series of 2021. First aider with certificate of training issued by the Red Cross in compliance to Department of Labor and Employment requirements for the approval of construction safety and health program required upon issuance of notice of award, subject to Department Order Number 35, Series of 2021. Compliance to DOE Department Order Number 252, Series of 2025. Revised implementing rules and regulations of Republic Act Number 11058, entitled An Act Strengthening Compliance with Occupational Safety and Health Standards and Providing Penalties for Violations thereof. 3. List of contractors' major construction and laboratory equipment units to be assigned to the contract, supported by certifications of availability, which must meet the minimum requirements for the contract set in the bid data sheet. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Attachments: proof of ownership, ORCR, and affidavit of ownership. Lease contract and affidavit of commitment, if applicable. Purchase agreement, if applicable. Certification of availability of equipment issued by owner, lessor, or vendor. And certification of minimum laboratory equipment duly certified by any DPWH office. 4. Notarized omnibus sworn statement in accordance with Section 54.3 of the IRR of RA 12009, supported by duly notarized special power of attorney board partnership resolution, or secretary certificate, whichever is applicable. 5. Latest General Information Sheet, or GIS, reflecting the beneficial ownership information duly received by the Securities and Exchange Commission for corporations. 6. ISO 9001-2015 certification, or its latest version, as applicable, in compliance with Department Order Number 110, Series of 2024. The second bid envelope or the financial component shall contain the following. 1. Bid form. 2. Bid prices in the bill of quantities. 3. Detailed estimates including a summary sheet indicating the unit prices of construction materials, labor rates, and equipment rentals used in coming up with the bid. And 4. Cash flow by quarter. Use the prescribed template provided in the bidding documents. Format and signing of bids. Bidders shall submit their bids through their duly authorized representative using the appropriate forms provided in Section 9, Philippine bidding documents related forms on or before the deadline specified in the ITB Clause 19 in 2 separate sealed bid envelopes, which shall be submitted simultaneously, whether through manual or online electronic submission. The first envelope shall contain the technical component of the bid, including eligibility requirements under ITB Clause 12, and the second envelope shall contain the financial component of the bid. Forms as mentioned in ITB Clause 17.1 must be completed without any alterations to their form. No substitute form shall be accepted. Each and every page of the bid form, including the bill of quantities under Section 9 hereof, shall be signed by the duly authorized representative of the bidder. Failure to do so shall be a ground for the rejection of the bid. Any insertions, erasures, or overwriting shall be valid only if they are signed or initialed by the duly authorized representative of the bidder. Sealing and marking of bids. Bidders shall enclose their technical documents described in ITB Clause 12 in one sealed envelope marked as technical component, and the financial component in another sealed envelope marked as financial component, sealing them all in an outer envelope marked as bid. The bid shall be typed or written in ink and shall be signed by the bidder or its duly authorized representative. All envelopes shall contain the name of the contract to be bid in capital letters. Bear the name and address of the bidder in capital letters. Be addressed to the Procuring Entities Bids and Awards Committee in accordance with ITB Clause 18.1. Bear the specific identification of this bidding process indicated in the ITB Clause 1.1. And bear a warning, do not open before the date and time for the opening of bids in accordance with ITB Clause 19. For manually submitted bid envelopes that are not properly sealed and marked, as required in the bidding documents, the same shall be accepted, provided that the bidder or its duly authorized representative shall acknowledge such condition of the bid as submitted. On the other hand, unsealed or unmarked bid envelopes, or bids that cannot be opened or corrupted in case of online submission, shall be rejected. The Bids and Awards Committee shall assume no responsibility for misplaced or lost contents of the improperly sealed or marked bid, or for its premature opening. Bid documents must be prepared on A4 size paper and properly labeled with ear tag, matching those on the checklist. All supporting documents, photocopied from the original, shall be legibly readable and will be authenticated as needed during the post-qualification process. Illustration for the sealing and marking of bids. The bidder shall submit one original and one copy one of the technical and financial components of its bid. Submission and receipt of bids. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic online. For bids to be submitted manually, bids must be duly received by the Bids and Awards Committee Secretariat on or before the scheduled date set in the bidding documents. For bids to be submitted electronically online, bidders should observe the guidelines for the electronic submission and receipt of bids as per Department Order Number 87, Series of 2020. Bids submitted after the deadline shall not be accepted. Email address for the electronic bid submission, electronicbids_Davao del Sur at dpwh.gov.ph. Bidders' responsibilities. The bidder, by the act of submitting its bid, shall be deemed to have inspected the site, determined the general characteristics of the contract works and the conditions for this project, and examine all instructions, forms, terms, and project requirements in the bidding documents. Further, the bidder shall bear all costs associated with the preparation and submission of its bid. The procuring entity shall in no case be responsible or liable for those costs, regardless of the conduct or outcome of the bidding process. Furthermore, the bidder should be aware that the procuring entity will accept bids only from those that have paid the applicable fee for the bidding documents of the office indicated in the invitation to bid. Clarifications and amendment of bidding documents. Prospective bidders may request for clarifications on and/or interpretation of any part of the bidding documents. Such request must be in writing and submitted to the Bids and Awards Committee of the procuring entity at least 10 calendar days before the deadline set for the submission and receipt of bids. Supplemental bid bulletins may also be issued upon the procuring entity's initiative for purposes of clarifying or modifying any provision of the bidding documents not later than 7 calendar days before the deadline for the submission and receipt of bids. It shall be the responsibility of all prospective bidders, including those who have properly secured the bidding documents, to inquire and secure supplemental bid bulletins that may be issued by the Bids and Awards Committee. Eligibility criteria, evaluation. Eligibility criteria shall be in accordance with Section 52.4.2 of the IRR of RA 12009. Eligibility evaluation for the procurement of locally funded civil works contracts shall be conducted electronically using the Civil Works Registry pursuant to Department Order Number 64, Series of 2012. Contractors who wish to participate in the bidding are encouraged to enroll in the DPWH Civil Works Application, or CWA, at the Procurement Service, 5th floor DPWH Building, Bonifacio Drive, Port Area, Manila. While those already enrolled shall keep their records current and updated. Preliminary examination of bids. The Bids and Awards Committee shall open the bids in public immediately after the deadline for submission and receipt of bids, as specified in the bid data sheet. In case the bids cannot be opened as scheduled due to justifiable reasons, the Bids and Awards Committee shall take custody of the submitted bids and reschedule the opening of bids on the next working day, or at the soonest possible time, through the issuance of a notice of postponement to be posted on the PhilJEPS and DPWH websites. The Bids and Awards Committee shall open the technical and financial proposals on the same day. The bidders or their duly authorized representatives may attend the opening of bids. Detailed evaluation and comparison of bids. The procuring entity's evaluation of bids shall be based on the bid price quoted in the bid form, which includes the bill of quantities. The procuring entity will undertake the detailed evaluation and comparison of the bids which have passed the opening and preliminary examination of bids to determine the lowest calculated bid, or LCB. The Bids and Awards Committee shall immediately conduct a detailed evaluation of all bids using non-discretionary criteria considering the following. A. Completeness of the bid. Bids not addressing or providing all of the required items in the bid data sheet shall be considered non-responsive and thus automatically disqualified. B. Arithmetical corrections. The VAC shall consider computational errors and omissions to enable proper comparison of all eligible bids. Any adjustment shall be calculated in monetary terms to determine the calculated prices. The VAC shall evaluate all bids on an equal footing to ensure fair and competitive bid comparison. For this purpose, all bidders shall be required to include in their bids the cost of all taxes, such as, but not limited to, value-added tax, income tax, local taxes, and other fiscal levies and duties. Such bids, including said taxes, shall be the basis for the bid evaluation and comparison. Post-qualification. The VAC shall determine to its satisfaction whether the bidder that is evaluated as having submitted the lowest calculated bid complies with and is responsive to all the requirements and conditions specified in ITB Clause 5 and 12. The determination shall be based upon an examination of the documentary evidence of the bidder's qualifications submitted pursuant to ITB Clause 12, as well as other information as the procuring entity deems necessary and appropriate, using a non-discretionary pass or fail criterion, which shall be completed within a period of 12 calendar days. If the VAC determines that the bidder with the LCB passes all the criteria for post-qualification, it shall declare the said bid as lowest calculated responsive bid and recommend to the head of the procuring entity the award of contract to the said bidder at its submitted bid price or its calculated bid price, whichever is lower. Reservation clause. Notwithstanding the eligibility or post-qualification of a bidder, and without incurring any liability, the head of the procuring entity at any stage of the procurement reserves the right to review its qualifications, reject any and all bids, declare a failure of bidding, or not award the contract in the following situations. A. If it has reasonable grounds to believe that a misrepresentation has been made by the said bidder. Or B. If it has reasonable grounds to believe that there has been a change in the bidder's capability to undertake the project from the time it submitted its eligibility requirements. Should such review uncover any misrepresentation made in the eligibility and bidding requirements, statements, or documents, or any changes in the situation of the bidder, which will adversely affect its capability to undertake the project so that it no longer meets the prescribed eligibility or bid evaluation criteria, the procuring entity shall consider the said bidder as ineligible and disqualify it from participating further in the bidding process or being awarded the contract. Award of contract. The head of the procuring entity shall award the contract to the bidder whose bid has been determined to be the lowest calculated responsive bid, or LCRB. The procuring entity shall notify the winning bidder in writing that its bid has been accepted through a notice of award duly received by the bidder or its representative person. End of presentation. Thank you.
For agenda number 2, any questions or comments from the interested bidders and the representatives of government DP? Let's proceed on agenda number 3. It is informed to the interested bidders that the cancellation of order of payment is not allowed without justification and valid reason. So bidders sending the representative must require a special power of attorney and should be specific to the project wanted to participate. For agenda number 4, the summary proceedings, including supplementary project bulletin, to be issued to be discussed by Engineer Digos.
Madam Chair, this is this week, no supplemental bid detail is issued.
So, the private conference adjourned at exactly 11:01.